Hi everyone, in this project we're going to build a production grade API using Java and Spring Boot. In order to start, let's navigate to start.spring.io. Here we can pick project as Maven, language Java. For Spring Boot, I recommend using the latest version, which is not Snapshot or Milestone. At the time of recording this video, it is 3.4.4. We can leave the group, artifact, name, description, and package name as default. Pick jar for packaging, and pick at least version 17 for our Java, since Spring Boot requires at least a JDK of version 17 or higher. Now we can pick our dependencies. I've picked these dependencies before, but let's go through them one more time. First, let's pick DevTools. DevTools allows us to have live reload when we are developing our application, and live reload allows us not to restart our server each time we make a change to our code. Okay, so let's pick DevTools. Also, let's pick Actuator. Spring Boot Actuator will expose a few endpoints that allows us to monitor the health of our application, get some metrics about our application, and get some information about sessions. Let's pick Spring Web, which allows us to build web including RESTful applications using Spring MVC. It also comes with an embedded Apache Tomcat container. Let's pick Lombok, which is an annotation library for Java that allows us to reduce boilerplate code. Let's generate our project, navigate to Downloads folder, unzip the project, and open it as a new project in IntelliJ. Very quickly, Maven is going to download all the dependencies that we have mentioned in the Spring Boot initializer. If we look at our pom.xml, we can see all the dependencies that we picked: Spring Boot Starter Actuator, Spring Boot Starter Web, Spring Boot DevTools, and Lombok. And one powerful feature about Spring Boot is that under the hood, it makes sure that every dependency that we pick has the right version, so that all the dependencies in our project can play nicely together and are compatible with each other. As you can see, we have not mentioned any version for any of the dependencies. Now let's start coding. Let's navigate to Source, Main, Java, and then Demo Application. This is the start of our application with our main function. As you can see, it is annotated with @SpringBootApplication. This annotation packs a number of annotations, including component scan and auto configuration. Let's start by creating a package called model for our data model classes. Let's create a Java class called, for example, test model. Let's start by annotating it with @data from Lombok. @data includes several annotations, including getter, setter, required args constructor, equals, toString, hashcode, and implements all those methods for us so that we do not have to write a boilerplate code for every single getter and setter and all those required object methods like equals, hashcode, toString, and also the required args constructor. We should still add no args constructor and all args constructor. Now, let's provide a few sample fields for this test model. Let's give it an ID of type long. Let's give a name of type string and also an age of type integer. And with that, our data model is ready to go. Now let's create another package called controller. In the controller package, let's create a Java class called test controller. Let's start by annotating this class with REST controller. REST controller allows us to perform serialization and deserialization between our Java objects and JSON when we are providing a response to client as part of the API invocation. So let's create our first endpoint. In CRUD operations, let's start with read operation by defining an HTTP GET method using GET mapping. Let's create an endpoint. We can call a test model, for instance. Then declare a public method that, for example, returns a list of a few test models. We can import test from java.util, and then we can call the method, for example, test model. Let's return a list of, say, 2 test model classes. To get the first one, we give the first one the ID of 1, name of John Doe, and age of, for instance, 40. Let's give another one, test model, ID 2, name Jane Doe, for example, 35. And with that, we have a production-grade API written in Java and Spring Boot that is ready to be deployed. Just to make sure that our project is structured correctly, we can go to Project Structure and make sure our SDK is Java 17, since, as you remember, we picked Java 17 in the Spring Boot initializer when we created our demo project. Let's click Apply and OK. And we have OK, integer. So let's go to our test model. Long and int, we can use the primitive types of long and integer. Let's go to our test controller. All the warnings are gone. Let's start our application and enable annotation for Lombok. And as we can see, our application is started. And we can see the Tomcat container is started on port 8080. Let's now navigate to our local host, port 8080, and the endpoint test model. Perform a get, and now we can see that our API returns a response in JSON that contains a list of 2 objects, one with ID 1, named John Doe, age 40, ID 2, Jane Doe, age 35. And with that, we have quickly and efficiently used Java and Spring Boot to create a production-grade RESTful API. Thanks for watching.